For more than 50 years, the Reno Air Races has given hundreds of thousands of fans the chance to witness high-performance aircraft racing head-to-head. Featuring many different categories of airplane, the annual festival regularly boasts speeds in excess of 400 miles an hour. And following visits to Tunisia and Spain, the Air Race 1 World Cup is about to reach its conclusion.
We're here for the third and final event of our series in 2015. We're in Reno, Nevada, for what's already an exciting event with a bunch of really competitive races. So this is going to be actually the deciding event for the first ever World Series winner. The Reno Air Races have been here for 52 years consecutively, so there's a very well-established event here. It's kind of the mecca for air racing. They race lots of different classes of airplanes, jets, unlimited, biplanes, T6s, all kinds of airplanes. It's a really exciting event. What we do is called the Formula One class, and we were actually one of the founding classes of air race. So the Formula One class has over 70 years of history and over 52 consecutive years of history here in Reno. So it's really exciting because what the Air Race 1 World Cup does is we take Formula One class and we take it around the world. So it's great to come back home to where air racing began and at the same time be the international series for the sport of Formula One air racing.
People all over the world know what the Reno Air Races are all about. And then having a class with Air Race 1 within the Reno Air Races is great because you have a following from around the world that comes to Reno to watch the finals. So this is great for us, good partnership. We're happy to host the Air Race 1 World Cup.
Here at Reno and in all Air Race 1 events, the pilots race against each other rather than against the clock.
We always get asked if this is Red Bull racing, and that's a high-skill sport. Very beautiful to watch, tremendous skill on the teams, both mechanically and pilot skill, but they're racing against the clock, and it's a very different game altogether. We race against 7 other airplanes, 8 altogether, and we're racing on takeoff, and there's nothing like it.
We're racing, there's no doubt about it. It's an 8-person, 8-ship airplane race, and we are working all year long to make these airplanes that have been racing for 60 years faster and faster and faster.
It's the only true racing class in Reno. All the other classes are aircraft that are modified for racing, whereas the Formula One is built specifically for this purpose.
Formula One is a really good class because you can form anything out of the materials that you can buy off the shelf. It's nothing outrageously expensive or unobtainable. It's also the fact that these airplanes are nice and small. You can trailer them. You don't have to fly them cross country, and that they're cheap enough really for the average person to purchase one.
The F1 class is especially wonderful because you know, the vast majority of aircraft we see around us are made by their owners, you know, and their owners do all of the maintenance, they do all of the development. It really is a hotbed right now of development in any class. It's exciting.
You know, air racing for me ties in the competitive nature of it. The continuous pursuit of perfection with racing and getting it dialed in. Building is fun, you know, tinkering and building and seeing what you can come up with. And then of course the last thing is the main thing is flying. It's a lot of fun and it's what I do for work. I fly for work. So it ties in all 4 of those, the flying part, the building part, and the competitive nature of it.
To me, these pilots, all of them, are some of the best stick and rudder pilots in the world. One, you got to be a little crazy to be flying formation as tight as we do, but then to do it well, you have to be absolutely a skilled pilot. In a jet or some of the larger airplanes, you really don't have to manage the rudder that much, but these things are a twitchy rudder event, and it takes a smooth and very competent pilot to do well at this.
The inaugural Air Race 1 World Cup has taken in 3 countries and 3 different continents. The people of Tunisia offered a warm welcome as Monastir hosted the opening round of the season. In the gold final, the #1 plane of Sweden's Tom Richard led from the start, having dominated the heats. The USA's Michael Mundell also made a great start to move straight up to second place. After several laps of trying to wrestle the place back, fellow American Jay Jones adopted the tactic of climbing high and then sweeping low to reclaim the position at mid-distance. A fantastic move from the man in the yellow cassock. Meanwhile, after a fueling issue had left him to miss the start of the race, one of the pre-event favourites, Steve Temple, was busy trying to catch the pack. It was to no avail, but his lap times were bettered only by race leader Tom Richard, who was able to dominate the race and took the checkered flag at an average speed of over 230 miles an hour to become the early championship leader. Jay Jones and Michael Mundell completing the podium, with Kent Castles, Philip Goforth and Justin Philipson completing the top 6. Next stop for the World Cup, Catalonia in Spain, as the town of Lleida hosted the second round of the championship. With several new pilots signing up for the second round, the competition was fierce, and the championship frontrunners had to work hard just to make it through to the gold final. Tom Richard started from pole, but couldn't fend off Jay Jones, who got a fantastic takeoff to charge into the lead from 4th spot. Up until this point, Richard had been unbeaten all weekend, so it looked as though an upset might be on the cards. The points leader followed patiently for the first 2 laps before closing in on Jones with this decisive move, exiting turn 1. Just a few seconds behind them in 3rd place was Steve Temple, desperate for points after his issues in Tunisia, but coming under some seriously close scrutiny from Frenchman Christian Gilly. And there was an equally intense battle for 5th place between Michael Mundell and Dave Holmgren. The gull-winged reverie of Tom Richard was now pulling clear of the pack, but there were changes behind. Having moved past Temple, Christian Gilly quickly closed in on Jay Jones and didn't hesitate to snatch 2nd place once he was afforded the opportunity. Further back, the 99 machine of Kent Castles had moved past Holmgren and Mundell to climb up to 5th place. Steve Temple ruthlessly dealt with the back markers as he began to hunt down Jay Jones for the final place on the podium. And the excellent battle between Castles and Mundell raged on, the latter going on the attack in his red number 33 machine to reclaim 5th position for the time being. Despite the early scare, this would once again prove to be Richard's day, as he took his 2nd successive victory in the Air Race 1 World Cup, ahead of Gilly in 2nd. And having held 3rd place for most of the race, Jay Jones was passed in dramatic fashion by Steve Temple as the pair came out of the final turn. Temple snatching the final podium position by just a few hundredths of a second. And there was a late change for 5th place as Kent Castles found a way back ahead of compatriot Michael Mundell in what was undoubtedly the best battle of the race. So the situation as we arrive at Reno for the final round of the championship is that Tom Richard leads the standings by 4 points from Jay Jones. Mundell and Castles are tied for 3rd on 37 points, with Temple just behind on 36. And with 22 points available for the race win, any one of them could still take the inaugural title. The debut season of the World Cup has significantly raised the profile of air racing by delivering a truly international calendar, something that pilots and the sport in general has been craving for many years.
People were wonderful. It was a lot of the same atmosphere as here, but on the other side of it, I think it was better because it was just us being the event. You know, we got to be the rock stars for a couple days, you know, so it was pretty cool.
The excitement is where we might be going next year. They're signed up to go back to Monastir, Tunisia. Those people were the most fantastic people to meet, the nicest and the most enjoyable people I've ever met there in North Africa in Monastir. We definitely are returning back to Lleida, Spain, and one of the coolest things of going back there is it's the same time we went last year. And that same time, the world's largest snail fest. You would not believe how many, almost 20 or 30,000 people every night in the city park, sitting there, cracking snails open, drinking whatever. It was just fantastic. But I would love to see that we gather our planes, put them on the boat, and just go from country to country, all the way around the world, chasing our planes to one race, one after another. That'd be so cool. And that's what this Air Race 1 has done, is brought us back to the international status. And the more we do it, the more people are going to see it.
Coming up after the break, the best of the action from Reno. And we'll find out which of the pilots is crowned the first ever Air Race 1 World Cup champion. Welcome back to the third and final round of the Air Race 1 World Cup, which runs as part of the Reno National Air Races, the most famous air racing event in the world.
Everyone who's a pilot who's ever flown aerobatics or formation has always wanted to come to Reno. Reno is one of those legendary places that you have to experience once in your life as a race pilot. Normally formation flying is rehearsed, coordinated. You will fly in known positions. Every radio call is choreographed in advance. Whereas here, you're flying aggressive formations. You're pushing people out of the way, you're bluffing, you're getting in each other's way. It's a different game altogether. It's much more hardcore, but it's also much more satisfying.
This inaugural season of Air Race 1 has put the sport back on the international map, the effects of which are already coming to fruition.
The Air Race 1 event has actually garnered a lot of excitement. It's got a lot of buzz going on. We're seeing international pilots come to the Reno Stead Airport to race this year that we probably would not have come, might not even known about it if we hadn't had the Air Race 1 and the events in Lleida and in Tunisia. So it's definitely increasing the activity. We're getting more planes, more pilots, more interest, more fans, more sponsors. It's great.
The sport is fiercely competitive, but it has a close-knit community who manage to retain a strong sense of camaraderie.
The F1 pits are very different from the other classes. It's a family, you want a prop, ooh, I know somebody who can lend you one. You need an extra engineer tonight, that happens. Everyone really works together and will help each other with anything, which makes it a lot more fun. It's competitive, of course, it's a race, but it's a family. People are very, very friendly and helpful.
And this is a team sport where the role of the crew is every bit as important as that of the pilot.
They take care of the airplane. I have some input on what I want done, and then there's times I get in there and I start trying to help, and then I get kicked, and they're like, you need to just get out of here and let us do our thing. So it's got to be a trust thing. You can't be worrying about if your mechanics are doing it right or your crew are doing it right. You have to jump in the airplane knowing that it's right when you go out there.
Many of the pilots have years of experience and harbour ambitions of winning a Reno medal. But for newcomers like Robert Mickey, the initial goal is to develop the plane one step at a time.
So we acquired the airplane a little over a year ago, and we've worked on it solidly through with a prime focus of getting here to Reno. So we turned up on the 7th, put it together, and that's it. This is us. First year, first time it's raced.
Having made his debut last year, Dave Holmgren is an impressive 6th in the Air Race 1 World Cup standings and making good progress all the time.
Here in Reno, I qualified a lot faster than I did last year. In fact, Air Race 1 awarded me the Review Tommen Watch for Most Improved Qualifying Times. I've never won anything like this before. I'm pretty psyched about it. Still not in the front of the field, still having the most fun.
Also picking up a prize from qualifying was Jason Crawford, crew chief of Tom Richards' plane Hot Stuff, which set the fastest time. His reward, a pair of much sought after Big Atmos sunglasses. At the sharp end of the field, there are 5 pilots, all in with a chance of winning the inaugural Air Race 1 World Cup, including Mike Mundell.
Currently, right now, we're in 3rd place in the points series. Kent Castles is also 3rd place for the points, so we are wing to wing. Today I chased him around the course. Yesterday he chased me around the course. We're evenly matched, but we got secrets that we put into the plane today, and we're going to try and beat him tomorrow.
During the qualifying races, pilots are divided into 2 groups, with the fastest qualifiers making it through to the gold final and the rest of the field entering the silver final. As the pilot currently second in the Air Race 1 standings, Jay Jones was expected to make it through to the gold final here at Reno, but his playing quad-nickel racer has been underperforming throughout the heats, and so instead he finds himself as one of the favourites to take the silver medal.
We're having a little difficulties with our intake manifold. We did change it from when we came back from Europe, and we may have missed our timing just a little bit on it, so now we're massaging it and working all the little bugs out. We know we have to step up our game and what we need to do. I need to get out in front, get in clean air, and run my race.
It's time then for the silver final here at Reno, an international field of 8 Formula One aircraft lined up for the start. In addition to going for the prestigious silver medal here at Reno, 5 of the pilots are also contesting the Air Race 1 World Cup as the green flag drops and the race gets underway to see who gets airborne first. Heat 3 winner Justin Gillen gets off the line well in race 4, chased by race 33, the red colours of Michael Mundell, and race 45, Jay Jones, who we now go on board with as he accelerates down the runway and begins to take off. A perfect start for Justin Gillen, then it's neck and neck for second place between Jones and Mundell, and the pair of them separated by just 3 points in the World Cup standings. So this run into turn 1 is critical. On board with Kent Castles, another front runner in the Air Race 1 World Cup, as he climbs towards turn 1. Far right of your picture, he's slotted into 4th place just to the outside of Mundell. The pair of them had a close battle in the final heat, with Castles beating Mundell to 3rd place by just over a second. There's Mundell on the back straight with Castles not far behind him and just out of shot in 5th place. It's race 40, Miss USA, piloted by Stephen Partridge Hicks. Here's a look over the shoulder of Jay Jones through turn 2. He flies low and tight to the pylons on the ground, which mark out the boundaries of this oval course. To his right, the race leader has taken a higher, wider arc through the turn, more distance to cover, but the benefit is that he can dive back down on the exit, giving him a boost of speed onto the home straight. So Gillen maintains the lead at the end of the first lap, but you can see that Jones is sticking to his plan, staying low as they head into the next turn. Look how close they are as Gillen nosing back in front as they hit the apex, and they ran almost wing to wing. A repeat of this fantastic battle they enjoyed in Heat 3, which Gillen won by less than half a second after relentless pressure from Jones. Onto the back straight, despite being low, Jones has got the better exit and slingshots past the number 4 Cassard of Gillen to move into the race lead. Having spent the whole of Heat 3 staring at Gillen's tail, Jones looks determined not to do the same in this silver final. A great move witnessed by the huge crowd that's gathered in the grandstands to watch this. And so now the hunted becomes the hunter as Justin Gillen finds himself demoted to 2nd place. A few seconds behind the lead battle, this is the view from Michael Mundell aboard race 33, second wind. Mundell still running in 3rd place and just beginning to edge clear of Kent Castles on that lap. Both of them averaged 212 miles an hour in the last heat, but that was about 8 miles an hour slower than Gillen and Jones, suggesting that Mundell and Castles are likely to be fighting for 3rd place, no higher, unless there's an unexpected turn of events. A little further back, this is the view on board race 15, Dave Holmgren on his 2nd appearance at Reno, and at the moment he's battling Stephen Partridge Hicks and Jerry Marshall for 5th place. Jay Jones looking more like a man relaxing in an armchair than someone who's flying at 226 miles an hour, just a few metres above the ground. He's just put in his fastest lap of the week and is about to lap rookie pilot Robert Mickey. Quad-nickel racer working beautifully at the moment, and if only he hadn't suffered those technical gremlins earlier in the week, Jones surely would have been a contender in the gold final. The next pilot to be lapped by the leader, if he has time, will be this man, Dave Holmgren, currently running in 7th place. In terms of the overall World Cup, to hold on to 2nd in the standings, Jones needs to make sure he wins this race and then hopes that Steve Temple doesn't win the gold final to come. There's Robert Mickey, a lap down now, but on course for his best average speed of the week so far as he continues to develop this plane. Also going considerably quicker than in the heats is Kent Castles in Margaret June, the man from Salt Springs in Florida, still 4th behind Mike Mundell. And here in 5th place, this is SPH, Stephen Partridge Hicks, aboard Miss USA. The British jet display pilot showing well this week. He's been a heat winner here in the past and also was part of the team that won the World Hang Gliding Championships back in 2002. Nobody can hold a candle to this man though. Jay Jones navigates the final turn of the race. Perhaps not quite the week he'd hoped for, but nevertheless, the man from Colorado is about to secure victory in the silver class here at Reno. Confirmation of the results. Jones wins by 2 seconds from Gillen. Mundell just 1.6 seconds clear of Castles for 3rd place. Partridge Hicks and Jerry Marshall complete the top 6. Congratulations then to Jay Jones, but how will his championship rivals fare in the gold final? After making it through qualifying and 3 race heats, the top 8 planes line up for the Formula One gold final. The green flag drops and the race gets underway. The red number 11 plane is defending Reno champion Steve Senegal. Alongside him, race 68, Elliot Seguin. And closest to us is Switzerland's Vito Viprechtica, who gets off the ground first. A terrific start from the man who inherited victory in the final heat after Senegal was disqualified for flying too low. And look at this, side by side for second place between Senegal and Seguin as they climb towards turn 1. And coming into shot around the outside, the green machine of Justin Philipson, who looks like he's made a really good start to the race. Meanwhile, Air Race 1 points leader Tom Richard has made a poor start and has dropped towards the back. Up front, it could hardly be closer as the top 5 jostle for position, and making his way into first place, that's Justin Philipson. An incredible start. Right on his tail is Viprechtica, and on a much higher line, slotting into third place, is Steve Senegal. There they go onto the back straight, and who would have predicted this? From 4th place, Philipson leads in number 79, no strings attached, a plane he built from more or less scratch with his brother. Are we on course for a huge upset here at Reno? In the 3 heats, he finished 4th, 6th and 4th. So this is progress. A long way to go, of course, 8 laps in total, but Philipson has given himself an excellent chance here. So he leads by Viprechtica still looking menacing in 2nd place, Senegal 3rd, Seguin has dropped to 4th, and then I think it's race 69, Philip Goforth in 5th place. There's your race leader as he makes his way onto lap 2, and you know, if anything, I think he's actually pulled away from Viprechtica. You can't see him because he's up higher, but Steve Senegal is still very much with them both running in 3rd place. And you get a real sense of speed here as these planes whip around the first turn. And now here's Viprechtica coming back at Philipson for the race lead. It almost looks like he's nosing ahead from this angle, but he's on the outside. And while he's definitely closed the gap, I think Philipson is just remaining ahead. Yes, he is, as they accelerate onto the back straight. Philipson hangs on, but that's his first taste of the kind of pressure he's going to come under. And Viprechtica isn't done yet. The Swiss pilot unleashes all the power available to him and dives underneath Philipson to move into the lead. What a move from a long, long way back. Here's Wasabi Siren, piloted by Elliot Seguin, running in 4th place, but this is a pilot who has not yet finished out of the top 3 this week. Back to the leaders, we're looking at the advantage that Viprechtica has, and it's almost hard to believe that he's only just taken the lead. And now, here comes Steve Senegal, like a red missile. He charges around the outside of Philipson and surely moves into 2nd place. So a terrific start from Justin Philipson, but now his rivals turn up the wick, and perhaps ultimately, he's not quite got the pace to be able to challenge for the victory. Immediately then, Senegal is coming after the race leader, and there's no doubt that the reigning champion is the quickest man out there. Steady at first, but now he's going for it, up high, and he goes past Viprechtica and into the lead of the race. With greater altitude, Senegal will also be able to drop down and use gravity to pick up even more speed, but he's not being given the opportunity because the Austrian is sticking to his line, grimly trying to fend off the American for the lead of the race. He's going to make Senegal do it the hard way, but I think Senegal will get through onto the home straight. He swoops down, and with that we have a new race leader. From 3rd to 1st in little over a lap, Senegal takes charge, and we have our 3rd different race leader. There's action further back too. This is Steve Temple running underneath Chet Harris to move up to 7th place. After a slow start to the race, that was a lovely move from Temple. Now, if it stays like this, he'll move ahead of Mike Mundell and Kent Castles to 3rd place in the standings, but to move ahead of Jay Jones, he'll have to try and finish as the best placed Air Race 1 competitor in this race, and at the moment he's only 4th in that group. Meanwhile, here's Tom Richard going past Justin Philipson and gaining a position. Now, Philipson was already passed by Seguin on the previous lap, so that is down to 5th place, I'm afraid, for the former race leader. Well, he's had to come back from disqualification in the final heat and fight his way up from 3rd place at the beginning of this race. But Steve Senegal takes the checkered flag to win the Reno National Air Races. 2nd place for Vito Viprechtica, 3rd for Elliot Seguin, and taking 4th place to win the Air Race 1 World Cup is this man, Tom Richard. Justin Philipson is 5th, and how close is this? Steve Temple attacking Phil Goforth on the run to the checkered flag, but he's just out of time, and Goforth holds on to finish in 6th place with Chet Harris right behind them in 8th. There you have it then, a thoroughly entertaining gold final and a fitting way to wrap up the first full season of the Air Race 1 World Cup. Well, it was made to work hard for it, but in the end, the race win and the US national title go to Steve Senegal. But the first World Cup competitor home was Tom Richard, winner of the Grand Series prize from Cato Propellers and, of course, the World Cup title.
Well deserved.
So we ended up on top of the World Championship this year, a little unexpected, but that's how things worked out. The win was accomplished by the design of the aircraft, and then of course all the hours of thrashing in the hangar by the team. That's how you win a championship.
So many congratulations to all of our Air Race 1 competitors for making this such a successful season. Hope you've enjoyed watching. Bye for now.